Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy have officially been appointed to a position in Trump's cabinet. It's a big deal because we've seen them point out some big ideas, some big claims, and some grandiose goals that they want to do if they were in a position of power in Trump's cabinet. We're going to go through some of those clips. We're also going to see exactly what Trump said. We're also going to see first how the liberal media is reacting to this new news that could send shockwaves, could improve the government budget. It's a big deal. It's itsSeanDaniel here. If you guys enjoy the video, consider subscribing. And if you're already subscribed, thank you so much. Now, I do not have my buddy Brutus today because I'm out and about, but I do have another furry friend. For those of you who are showing love in the comments, thank you so much. For those of you who are talking shit about me having stuffed animals, well, they're not going anywhere. We have a travel buddy with me today. Anyway, let's get into the video.
Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, great, we're going to get to hear his voice again for however many years till he gets fired. They're going to lead something called the Department of Government Efficiency. They're supposed to now be in charge of cutting the budget, which is normally the job of the House of Representatives. You served in the House. Doesn't the House have to be involved some way in creating a new government agency, or can Trump just whip one up on Twitter?
No, Joy, that's right. I think Donald Trump's just handing out candy right now to his friends and family. Congress is required to establish federal departments to define the jurisdiction, to decide how it's appointed. Presidents can certainly appoint aides and non-congressional positions, but there will not be a Department of Government Efficiency without Congress, which actually raises the question, does Congress now just rubber stamp that in one of its next appropriations bill? And here's what it's going to be. This is your Project 2025 department.
Yes.
The Department of Government Efficiency by Ramaswamy and Elon, that's your Project 2025 department. Correct. Without the bad impressions that Heritage created during the campaign trail.
What is wrong with a government agency trying to cut the budget of the government? We already know that we spend way too much money as a government. We waste the taxpayer money that we have to pay taxes for, like with all the stuff that we send out to Ukraine and to other governments around the world. What's wrong with the idea of that? And the immediate response from the media is that obviously this is a problem because it's Trump, it's evil, you can't bring any outsiders in, which Trump is going to continually do with his cabinet appointees. But there really isn't an argument against it, other than that these guys are going to have to work with Congress to decide on a budget.
The pair that you see here has now been tasked with slashing regulations and restructuring government agencies. But I should note, there are still a lot of questions this hour over how that's going to work, as they will not be government employees based on what we have heard and what this sounds like. And it won't actually be a government agency, which is something that would require congressional approval.
What we do know, though, is that it is fulfilling one of Donald Trump's big campaign promises, which is to put Elon Musk in charge of slashing some of this federal spending. And we know that Elon Musk has said that he wants to cut $2 trillion. Now, he has not said where that money, those cuts are going to come from. We also know Vivek Ramaswamy has been in favor of drastically slashing federal jobs. So that kind of gives you an idea, I think, of where they're going to start. But there's a lot of questions over how effective this is going to be.
Well, and also slashing federal spending. I mean, $2 trillion for everyone watching and doing the math on the back of a napkin. I mean, the federal government spent about almost $7 trillion last fiscal year, but over $5 trillion of that was for veterans benefits, Social Security, health care. I mean, if you are going to slash $2 trillion, even $1 trillion, which is what the transition has said, I mean, you would not be able to do it without touching those very critical things.
Yes, it is a bold claim to want to cut out $2 trillion from government spending. But the media will have more of a problem with Trump and his team making such a bold claim than they would if the next people that were going to come in power, say Kamala Harris if she won, if they said the budget's fine. They would have no issues with that. They would be supportive of that. Why? Because it doesn't change the status quo. It doesn't change any of the money that's possibly coming back into the back pockets of these politicians. They wouldn't say a word about that, but they're going to say a word about this amazing goal to try to cut $2 trillion. Now, how feasible is that? How can it be done? That's good to break down. But they immediately come from a point of criticism, whereas if the opposite was true, they were going to keep the budget exactly the same if Harris was in power, they would have no issues.
Cutting waste and inefficiency in federal government is something that many presidents have promised, and many Americans would like to see. But what would
Sure.
Elon Musk's managerial style do in a federal government context?
Well, a lot of it is jazz hands around him, and some of it's chaotic, some of them are run well, but he's always got someone behind him. Like at SpaceX, it's a woman named Glenn Shotwell or other executives. And often he comes in and he just, overthrows trash cans and says, everybody, we're going to do everything differently. That's something he does a lot. I don't think you can do that in government. At SpaceX, they've blown up a lot of rockets to get to where they are. I'm not so sure you can blow up things in the federal government quite as easily without some impact. And so it's not this thing as running a company where you have fiat to do everything. And I think distance help streamline over easy fix way. So you just cut it and that would be that. It's just not true. It's just not accurate.
If you're going to talk about the authority of Elon Musk, who's a visionary, a guy who makes amazing stuff happen, while you have a shit internet connection on your little crappy webcam when you're trying to go on a news network, you obviously have no authority. How can you present yourself professionally giving these criticisms about another person in power when you can't even present yourself properly with the technology you decide to use? First of all, that's one thing. I can't stand that when I'm watching interviews and people aren't even having good quality technology now. It's like, really? You get put on CNN, Fox News, and your video cam and mic is terrible? Come on. But why can't we change stuff up in government? Why can't? The idea that you can't. I can't. This is how it is. This is always the way it's been. Okay, there's some truth to maybe how government works, but why can't you blow shit up? Why can't you change things? People that always want to get stuck in the past, keep it the way it was, not have any innovation, they're like, oh no, you can't do that, you can't do that. Look at all the stuff Elon Musk has done, all the stuff Trump has done just to even win a second time. That's all things that were said, oh, that can't be done. Don't listen to that stuff.
I mean, I think we just waste a significant amount of money in our government. And I know there's a lot of criticism about, well, how much should the federal government mimic a private business or a publicly traded company? I think we need a little bit of it. I think we need to streamline it. Technology could potentially replace a significant amount of people. We have too much bureaucracy. And so I'm curious to see if their advisement to the president working in tandem with Congress could potentially improve some of those things. I take the point about the laws that's going to make it a little bit difficult. They'll have to work around that.
Before we see some clips of Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy and some things that they've discussed in the past about what they would do if they were in a position of power, and some clips where it really shows what they're made of and what they're bringing to the table, let's see exactly what Trump said in his statement. He said, "I am pleased to announce that the great Elon Musk, working in conjunction with American patriot Vivek Ramaswamy, will lead the Department of Government Efficiency, Doge, which is interesting because of Dogecoin, that's something else. Together, these two wonderful Americans will pave the way for my administration to dismantle government bureaucracy, slash excess regulations, cut wasteful expenditures, and restructure federal agencies, essential to the Save America movement. This will send shockwaves through the system and anyone involved in government waste, which is a lot of people," stated Mr. Musk. He said, "It will become potentially the Manhattan Project of our time. Republican politicians have dreamed about the objective of Doge for a very long time. To drive this kind of drastic change, the Department of Government Efficiency will provide advice and guidance from outside of government," makes sense, "and will partner with the White House and Office of Management and Budget to drive large-scale structural reform and create an entrepreneurial approach to government never seen before. I look forward to Elon and Vivek making changes to the federal bureaucracy with an eye on efficiency and at the same time making life better for all Americans. Importantly, we will drive out the massive waste and fraud which exists throughout our annual $6.5 trillion of government spending. They will work together to liberate our economy and make the U.S. government accountable to we the people. Their work will conclude no later than July 4th, 2026. Wow, so in a year and a half. A smaller government with more efficiency and less bureaucracy will be the perfect gift to America on the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. I am confident they will succeed." What is wrong with this idea? Technically, how is it going to work with working with Congress because they're the ones that pass the budget? Okay, but having someone come from outside the government that has experience getting systems to work efficiently to bring forth positive results, profitable results, it only makes sense. But again, making sense is not an idea that's congruent with government. So the media is not going to like this, but we the people should be very happy. And here's what Elon has said previously about what he would do if he was in this type of position with the government budget.
We set up Doge.
Yes.
How much do you think we can rip out of this wasted $6.5 trillion Harris-Biden budget?
Well, I think we can do at least $2 trillion.
Yeah!
Yes.
2 trillion.
I mean, at the end of the day, you're being taxed. You're being taxed. All government spending is taxation. So whether it's direct taxation or all government spending, it either becomes inflation or it's direct taxation. Your money is being wasted, and the Department of Government Efficiency is going to fix that. We're going to get the government off your back and out of your pocketbook.
And why is it important that we have Vivek Ramaswamy with Elon Musk? Because he has balls to bring up stuff like this, like he did when he was running for president.
I also want to close with one message to the Democrat Party. End this farce that Joe Biden is going to be your nominee. We know he's not even the president of the United States. He's a puppet for the managerial class. So have the guts to step up and be honest about who you're actually going to put up so we can have an honest debate. Biden should step aside, end his candidacy now so we can see whether it's Newsom or Michelle Obama or whoever else.
All right,
just
Mr.
tell us the
Ramaswamy,
truth so we can have an
your
honest
time is
debate.
up. Ambassador.
He said that back in November of last year. And what he also said in that same debate for Republican candidates took a shot at liberal media, but he also foresaw one of the things that ended up helping Trump win, which was his unique strategy with podcasts and things like this.
Think about who's moderating this debate. This should be Tucker Carlson, Joe Rogan, and Elon Musk. We'd have 10 times the viewership, asking questions that GOP primary voters actually care about and bringing more people into our party. You think the Democrats, and we've got Kristen Welker here, you think the Democrats would actually hire Greg Gutfeld to host a Democratic debate? They wouldn't do it. And so the fact of the matter is, I mean, Kristen, I'm going to use this time because this is actually about you in the media and the corrupt media establishment. Ask you, the Trump-Russia collusion hoax that you pushed on this network for years, was that real or was that Hillary Clinton made up disinformation? Answer the question. Go. Mr. Ross, this is how we get our...
He called her out.
We need accountability because this media rigged the 2016 election. They rigged the 2020 election with the Hunter Biden laptop story.
Mr. Ramaswamy,
and they're going to rig this election.
Your time is up.
Accountability.
Let me turn to Governor Christie. Why you...
He called her out, Kristen Walker, on the front stage. And what he talked about with the podcast thing, and what he talked about with those podcast hosts, that was one of the things Trump actually did during this campaign, which helped him get his voice out to a lot of people because of those big platforms that Elon Musk, Joe Rogan, other people, Tucker Carlson have. And if we have people like this, Vivek Ramaswamy, and people like Elon Musk having balls to come up with some at least impressive ideas and unique ideas, you want people that push the boundary. You don't want people that are just going to do the status quo, make sure they get their nice gig kickback with because they passed this thing through. And we voted not for politicians. We voted for some unique stuff for Trump, all the things he represents. And it's great to see that he's actually pushing that through by his appointees, just in this one instance with Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy having an impact possibly on the government budget. It's SeanDaniel here. If you guys enjoy the videos, consider subscribing or watching another video right here. And we can be excited about some of the cabinet appointees that Trump is putting forth right now. I'll see you in the next video.